Everyone, my name is Taylor St. Germain with ITR Economics, and welcome to this episode of TrendsTalk. We at ITR are your apolitical and unbiased source of economic intelligence. And first off, really like to thank my colleague Mike for filling in for me while I was out on paternity leave. And I wanted to thank everyone who reached out to me on LinkedIn to congratulate me on my son, my wife, and son are both doing very well. His 1 month birthday is quickly approaching, and life is good. So thank you again to everyone who reached out on LinkedIn. I really appreciate that. But back into the economics, and we've got a lot to talk about here today. I wanted to start off with a comment around U.S. industrial production and what that means for manufacturing production, as well as the different verticals and how these verticals are expected to perform as we look at 2024 and 2025. There's been a lot of requests coming our way for where is manufacturing in this cycle? Where's the bottom? Are we seeing signs of improvement? And what does 2025 look like? So I wanted to first start off with industrial production. As many of you know, as listeners of TrendsTalk know, that is one of our headline macroeconomic series that we forecast on a regular basis. And when we look at industrial production and really pull industrial production apart to look at the various components, manufacturing is the largest component. Manufacturing makes up about 75% of industrial production. So wherever industrial production is going, manufacturing is typically in a similar position in the economic cycle. But I'll highlight some nuances. So the very first thing I'd like to point out, and this is exciting news for an economist, and I think for business owners and employees really around the country. The good news is that both industrial production and that manufacturing component have entered the recovery phase of the cycle. So what do we mean when we say that? Well, when we say recovery, that means the growth rates, specifically year-over-year growth rates for industrial production and manufacturing, have reached a low point and have actually improved. So we're still in the negative territory for both metrics, but those growth rates are getting less negative, working their way back up towards zero and back towards that positive growth. That's why we call it the recovery phase of the cycle, because we've hit a low point and those growth rates are improving. And that is the case for both industrial production and manufacturing. Industrial production still down below the year ago level by about 0.2%. So we're at a minus 0.2%. Manufacturing production is at a minus 0.5%. So that manufacturing component is slightly lower than the overall industrial production index, likely because industrial production is getting a little bit of a boost from oil and gas and utilities. But again, both recovering, bouncing off low points, and as we look ahead to 2025, we see accelerating growth characterizing both the overall industrial economy and manufacturing production. So what does that mean for all of you listening to this podcast and listening to what I have to say about the data? It means it's time to prepare for growth. The recovery phase is really our runway to prepare, to invest, to bring on additional talent and capacity to ensure that we're ready to take on the accelerating growth that's coming our way in the future. And that is what is key right now. I know there's a lot of concerns around the election. Our chief economist, Brian Bolio, wrote in the executive summary all about this rising trend in 2025 and about the lack of impact from the election results. Regardless which way the election goes, we see 2025 as an accelerating growth year for the industrial economy and manufacturing. And that's why I say don't hesitate. We're in the recovery phase of the cycle now. Now is time to step on the gas and ensure you're prepared for this accelerating growth that's coming our way in 2025. Now, of course, I'm talking about big macroeconomic data sets. The natural question, right, is, well, Taylor, within manufacturing, what components are going to perform better than others in 2025? Again, you can head over to our trends report in the manufacturing module, and we give a breakdown of a lot of these various manufacturing sectors. And the short answer is that most every manufacturing component, subcomponent, is expected to grow in 2025 when comparing to 2024. Now, again, there's difference in growth rates. For example, we have North America light vehicle production or the automotive market growing about 1% in 25, when we have the aircraft market growing about 5.7% in 25. So while most of these components are growing, there are different industries and different sectors that are going to see higher levels of growth than others. Again, oil and gas growing at about 2% next year. Chemical production, though, only growing at about 1%. So it's important to, first off, as I'm saying, prepare for this growth that's coming in 25, because most all of these subcomponents of manufacturing are growing, but it is important to have realistic expectations by understanding which markets will grow faster than others. That's what we help you with here at ITR, and that's what our trends report does a great job at detailing. So I urge you to check that all out. So in summary, there's good news today, and that's that manufacturing and industrial production are in recovery. And there's growth on the horizon as we get into 25, and that growth will persist throughout the year. So don't fall behind. Now is the time to step on the gas, ignore some of the noise from the political environment, and really focus on the data. My concern is not businesses surviving the rest of 24. My concern is that manufacturers, those participating in the industrial market, aren't prepared for how quickly this growth is coming our way in 2025. So don't be those people that aren't prepared. Act now, and you'll find yourselves in a very exciting year as we look ahead to 2025. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Trends Talk. I'm Taylor St. Germain with ITR Economics, and a lot more fun coming your way over these next few weeks. But for now, please remember to like and subscribe to Trends Talk wherever you listen to your podcasts, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care for now.